Welcome to Comics with Dan. We're going to talk about Absolute Comics. DC has not made an official statement regarding Absolute Comics, but the website Bleeding Cool has released information regarding the name of the new line and as well as that Scott Snyder is going to be heading up the new project. I think a lot of people will liken this to the New 52, where we got a lot of darker, edgier versions of the characters, but nowhere in any of the information that Bleeding Cool put out does it say that. And I really think that we might just get a wide variety of takes on the characters depending on the creative teams that are announced. Now, I want to share with you who I either think or want to be on the creative teams for some potential Absolute Comics books. Absolute Justice League, Mark Waid and Jacob Edgar. Jacob Edgar has been posting character designs on Twitter for several Justice League characters. My only hesitation here is that Detective Chimp is one of them, not a traditional Justice League member. Mark Waid is simply just DC's top writer right now, so it would make sense to have him on a flagship book. I'm tempted to add Mora here, as I selfishly want a Waid Mora Justice League book. Absolute Batman, Simon Spurrier and Rafael De La Torre. With Spurrier writing a more serious Flash book currently and having written the backups for Detective Comics, I think he's a natural to select for a Batman book. De La Torre is drawing Penguin and doing extremely well, so I think he and Spurrier would make an excellent team. Absolute Superman by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. Bruno Redondo has done some excellent work on the mainline Superman book, and Tom Taylor has written 2 John Kent series. Bruno Redondo does not have any solicited projects after Nightwing. It makes sense to throw this extremely successful team onto a flagship book. I can't say I'd love Tom Taylor here, but there are certainly worse choices. Absolute Wonder Woman, Josie Campbell and Bilquis Evely. Josie Campbell wrote backups in Wonder Woman and wrote the most recent iteration of Amazon's Attack. She has a great voice for the characters and has been knocking it out of the park more and more. Bilquis Evely has done excellent work on Supergirl and Helen of Windhorn, and I'd love to see a beautiful, detailed Themyscira illustrated by her. Absolute Flash, Philip Kennedy Johnson and Sean Isaacs. After reading Warworld, I have total faith in PKJ to write another epic, and I think The Flash could give him the canvas he needs for it. Isaacs is doing great work on Green Arrow that will complement this perfectly. Absolute Green Lantern, Jason Aaron and Daniel Sampere. Aaron getting more DC work recently points to the possibility that he'll be involved in Absolute Comics, and I'd love to see it. After reading the first issue of Batman Off-Earth, I think a Green Lantern space epic is right in his wheelhouse. Sampere could draw any character and it would be beautiful, but I think the pairing of 2 powerhouses like Aaron and Sampere would help boost the book to being a top seller. Absolute Aquaman, Ram V and Christian Ward. I have heard good things about Aquaman Andromeda, so I think continuing an Aquaman horror book in the Absolute universe would be fantastic. Ward's wild art style brings such vibrant life to the depths of the sea. Absolute Supergirl, G. Willow Wilson and Tula Lotay. G. Willow Wilson is writing a really successful Poison Ivy run, and Tula Lotay has worked with Scott Snyder through Distillery and through Barnstormers. Absolute Young Justice, Becky Cloonan and Jamal Campbell. Let's bring back Young Justice, and I think I'd love to see a lineup with a blend of former members and new members. Cloonan is another Distillery creator that I could see Snyder bringing aboard, and the glowing reviews from Campbell's work on Superman could put this book over the top. Absolute Suicide Squad by Jeff Lemire and Mariko Taraka. My main feeling around this one surrounds the DCU synergy to be promoted. I think Lemire has the right style to make a Suicide Squad book really wacky and like no other Suicide Squad book we've seen before. Taraka has been illustrating Poison Ivy since day one and feels like he could complement Lemire on a Suicide Squad book very well. Absolute Creature Commandos, Ram V and Evan Cagle. Another DCU synergy creation. I'm betting this whole Absolute Comics idea is going to be partially a tool to push forward the movies without touching the mainline books. I know they're doing Dawn Runner together, but that should end before this begins. I think this duo would make for a fantastic Creature Commandos book that will line up directly with the release of the animated show. Absolute Nightwing, Tom King and Dan Mora. Perhaps we get to see the story Tom King had for Nightwing that was replaced with the Rick Grayson arc, and Dan Mora has shown he can do 2 books at once. I'd like a more grounded, introspective Nightwing book, and I think King will give us that. Absolute Justice Society, Roberto Venditti and Riley Rossmo. After that Sandman book, just give it to them. Let them do what they want with it. Absolute Gotham, Josh Williamson and Dan Mora. This book would be a book comprising all heroes operating out of Gotham. Red Hood, Spoiler, Oracle, Cass Kane, etc., with Batman as well, but a bit more of an overarching character, not the main character. This would be a big seller, so I think it makes sense that the Dawn of DC architect Williamson and the big artist at DC, Dan Mora, would be on this book. These are just some of the ideas that I have for the Absolute Comics. Let me know what you think in the comments. Definitely tell me some of your ideas in the comments. If you'd like this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.